Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to talk college athletics, a little bit of rugby, a little bit about triathlons, and the Son of Fun Flying returning to Polk County. Stick around, everybody, for this week's edition of Sports Central. Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Neal Duncan alongside Jack Cormier, and I don't know that I've ever done this show with you.
No, I've been a guest a couple of times, but this is the first time behind the desk.
So I'm as afraid as you are at home. This duo is going to be hosting Sports Central. No, I'm just kidding. This first segment brought to us by Spring Hill Suites, and so much going on, so many activities. A sense of, I don't want to say return to normal and normalcy or any of the buzzwords that are around there, but
don't know if we can claim normal right now.
But it's good to see a lot of activities, and always want to remind folks to go to visitcentralflorida.org or centralfloridasports.com for a list of those activities going on, safely occurring here in Polk County. But one of the great things we have in Polk County is our college and universities. We're very blessed in Polk County to have outstanding college and universities. And one of them is with us today, the athletic director of Southeastern University, Drew Watson. And Drew, no strangers to Sports Central, so welcome back, and we appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You got 12 minutes, go. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Well, I know, and I jokingly say that, but I know Southeastern has, like everyone else, had to go through, go over a lot of hurdles, jump through a lot of hoops. Some football was going on within the conference, some wasn't. Yep. So just give us a quick update as it relates to the changing of the seasons, if you will, because of COVID, and then maybe where we are now.
Well, COVID obviously wreaked havoc on everybody in the fall, and as we navigated the summer and trying to decide if we're going to have athletics, obviously we're NAIA, so we have to depend on them for their governance and oversight. But we decided to give football a shot in all of our fall sports, and we were the only division in the Mid-South to compete. The Bluegrass and Appalachian divisions did not last fall. They're competing now. But we, because of the protocols we put in place, we didn't have a lot of issues with COVID. We were actually the only conference in the NAIA to finish all of our fall sports start to finish. And we had a couple hiccups. We had some postponements that had to be made up, but just really proud of our coaches and our athletic training staff and our athletes for sticking with the protocols and making it through the fall.
So you talk about two of the divisions are competing now. The division that Southeastern is in competed in the fall.
Yep.
Do you have the ability? So there's no championship in AIA, or there is?
There is.
And you opted out of that to play in the fall?
We basically, the NAIA told us that if you wanted to compete in the fall, you could. Mm-hmm. But they moved all of their championships to the spring. So it's been a very busy spring because we've got a women's soccer team that was undefeated in conference champs in the fall. They now have to get geared up and ready to go and play in the first round and hopefully the final round of the national tournament, which is next week. We host the first round, Thursday and Saturday, and so our girls are gearing up for that, ready to go. So we moved all fall to spring, which has made it very busy.
Right.
Fantastic soccer program that continues to compete. So, I mean, you lose a superstar like Uchenna Kanu, yep, and you continue to go on. So tell us about this year's team.
Yeah, Alan Barrios came in this year, has done a great job. He filled in some holes, and I think Uchenna obviously was a great player, World Cup player. But I think you could characterize our team the last few years as Uchenna and supporting cast. She was scoring goals left and right. Mm-hmm. But I would say we weren't the best team in the conference. Kaiser brought a better team, and because of that, they were conference champs. Alan has filled out the roster, and so we don't depend on one or two players. It's a complete effort, and he's done a great job building that program.
Well, and you talk about hosting now the regional, right? The regional tournament equivalent of that, but first opening round of playoffs, if you will. That doesn't just show up at Southeastern because the team was good. It's not a first seed location type thing. It's a bid process, and partners have to come as part of that, correct?
Yeah, and Sam Baker has done a tremendous job. He he, I think, has the hardest job in putting a bid together because he's got to contact all the hotels and make sure we've got the rooms, and which was a challenge for this tournament because we've got Sun and Fun in town, as we're going to talk about later, and the hotels are booked, and so but he did a great job.
Wait, say it one more time.
Hotels
I just like hearing
booked.
that out loud.
Hotels are booked. So Sam did a great job getting us rooms for the incoming teams. We've got 3 other teams coming in. So I've got a great team that works to put bids together, and you folks are great. Working with you is just a pleasure. So thank you for that.
Well, we talked about in the open a little bit about the return to normalcy and some of those things. So it's funny you say that because when Sam came in my office telling me about some of the challenges that were occurring, I was like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah,
It's a
actually,
great
I'm
problem.
not as stressed out about it. I'm still stressed out about it, but it's a good problem to have. So, well, talk about that. So football is not going to be competing in the spring because they're actually doing spring practice or have been, right?
Our spring practice season is underway. We're going to do a kind of select a seed event, a spring game next Saturday night. But they're gearing up for the fall. Kaiser ended up, they're representing our division in the national tournament. But for us, we felt it was going to be a challenge physically for our student athletes to compete in the fall, compete in the spring, and then compete in the fall again. That's just a quick turnaround that we didn't feel was particularly safe. So we aren't playing any games this spring, but excited to ramp it back up in the fall.
Well, let's talk about, I'm sorry, Jack. Let's
and
talk
I was going to
about
say,
all the other events.
Yeah, all the other events and your perennial powerhouse baseball.
Yeah, baseball's doing great. They had a 39-game win streak snapped earlier this year. And so 3 losses on the year. We're in first place in the Sun Conference. And looking forward to possibly hosting the first round of the national tournament down at Chain of Lakes in Winter Haven.
And again, going through the bid process and partners coming together, City of Winter Haven, Polk County Sports Marketing, obviously Southeastern, and then working with the NAIA. Talk about baseball because just quickly, and I think we're all to the point. Let's look forward, not necessarily back. But if I'm just going to look back just a little bit, the team lost an opportunity for another run or an additional run for a national championship last year. Does that give any momentum to this year's team, or it's just a different set of circumstances and let's do it?
There's a little bit of momentum there. I think the biggest factor in that was all of those players from last year got an additional year of eligibility. And so while it was, we were the #1 team in the country at the time, having a great run. I think we had lost 1 game at that point in the season. We're ready to go into the playoffs in the World Series again. But then COVID hits, and I think the saving grace was those players who were there, it was their last year, they can now jump back into this year, and we've had that happen. Not in every case, but we've got a lot of the players back from last year that were seniors competing again, and it's just made the team that much deeper.
Great.
And wrestling. Tell us about this year's wrestling. This was a special year for you guys in wrestling.
Yeah, we had 2 national champions for the first time in program history, Kyle Kirkham and Andreas Bond. Bond is from Lake Gibson, so he's a local product. So a lot of people in the area reaching out. And it was kind of cool for me. I'm getting emails during the tournament from Kyle Kirkham's high school assistant principals just saying, hey, we're watching, we're excited for him. Just so pumped up for those guys and for the program. We were, 5 years ago when we started wrestling, we were the only collegiate program in Florida. Now Kaiser and St. Thomas have joined, and we're hoping that we get more to kind of get the momentum going here. But so proud of those guys and Coach Brandon George for the work they did to earn national championships.
Well, we've seen that before, when I think Weber was first to have football in Polk County. And then, now he's got 3 college football teams in Polk County with Warner and Southeastern. But, the rising tide, lifts all ships. And certainly it has to be a great recruiting element, not just in the terms of sports, but in terms of students to, the general or student body of the college, correct?
Yeah, that was one of the things we looked at when we started football, is that it's not just getting football players on campus. It just changes the whole sports culture of the campus, and we've seen that work out, and we do get students because we have football.
Well, and what was it, 18, 19? I know you were getting ready to hit on that, the awards that we could do the entire show with the awards that Drew has won.
Yes.
And Southeastern has won, but that Commissioner's Cup had to be special because as you added all those things in a short period of time, back to 18-19, winning Commissioner's Cup in about 10-year time period had to be special for the university.
Yeah, that was an award that had eluded us because it really is the award goes to the school that has the best success across the board. So you could have a couple of really good programs and not win the cup. So just really proud of the coaches. They really put their nose to the grindstone and got that done. I was very proud of that accomplishment.
Very good.
I do have one more thing though.
No,
Yes.
no.
National championship in women's 4x400.
That was.
I was
yep.
looking to.
I was looking down.
he was
looking down, trying to catch up. So
I didn't mean to step on your open there, Jack.
Nice job, Jack. Yeah, another national title.
Yeah, they all happened in the same weekend. And so you had the 2 wrestlers and the 4x400 relay team all win national championships. It was a great weekend for Southeastern. But Nick Dotson is our head track and field coach, and he has done just a tremendous job building a national caliber program in 3 years. You know, our first year we won the Sun Conference men's and women's track and field titles, and he's just done a good job of maintaining that success. Our teams are number 2 in the country. Our men's and women's teams are number 2. So would like to be number 1, but our top ranked. So it's really fun to watch them compete.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and time flies by. Maybe next time we'll have him on for a couple of segments. But we appreciate all that you're doing there at Southeastern University, not only for the student body, but also recruiting and working with sports marketing to bring other events in to Polk County, because generates even more economic impact. So we really appreciate it.
Our partnership is phenomenal. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Speaking of partnerships, the partnership that came into play in the creation of the Advent Health Fieldhouse in Winter Haven, of course, City of Winter Haven, and Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing through the Board of County Commissioners, a fantastic venue. And recently, there was a Youth Basketball of America, which is a permanent tenant of that facility. They hosted an event there in Winter Haven at the Fieldhouse. We'll take a look at some action. Jack and Neal will be right back here on Sports Central.
The 2021 NBA G League Championship Trophy to the Lakeland Magic.
G League, first, thank you to our teams, our partners here at Disney Wild World of Sports, all of the staff that came together with our league to make our season possible. This past year has been a challenge for us all. Hopefully through our game, we've been able to find some healing, some inspiration, some joy in G League basketball. Thank you to our players for demonstrating the spirit of our league. To the Delaware Blue Coats, congratulations on a phenomenal season. But this season belongs to the Lakeland Magic. It's my pleasure to hand off our championship trophy to the 2021 G League champion, Lakeland Magic. Congratulations.
You know, we just kept building. We started by setting the tone with our defense, and that continued throughout the whole tournament. But by the end of the tournament, we started playing really well offensively, sharing the ball, moving, spacing, and really knocking down open shots. So hats off to these players for continuing to buy into playing the right way and playing together out there on the court. Well, these guys, you know, it takes sacrifice, it takes toughness. These guys really bought into the fact of some of the schemes and some of the defensive things we were doing. A lot of it is borrowed from Steve Clifford up to the Orlando Magic. You know, we bought in. We continued to do so. We worked and we kept getting better as the season went on. And defense wins championship. That's what it's all about.
In a league of rising stars, this year's rising star our finals MVP, Devin Kennedy.
It's been crazy with COVID. You know, it's been a year since the league shut down, the NBA. But we came in here with one goal in mind, and that was to win. And we did. We played defense. We played, play together. This team right here, that's my dogs right there. So we came in here with one mission. We got it done.
Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Neal, Duncan, Jack Cormier, and I was wrong. That wasn't Youth Basketball of America. I mean, it's what was on my paper, but no,
at least
kidding.
It was basketball.
Yeah, it was basketball, but there is a connection to the Advent Health Fieldhouse. That's where the Lakeland Magic do their practicing and their team training, and then of course they have their games normally at the RP Funding Center there in Lakeland. But this year, the G League went into a bubble in Orlando, and our Lakeland Magic won the G League Championship. So their first one, I think this is their 4th year, so they did that pretty quickly. So congratulations to Hans and Stan Heath and the whole crew over there at the Lakeland Magic.
And already have players contributing in Orlando.
Yeah, getting NBA contracts from that. So pretty cool stuff there. So that was the Lakeland Magic G League Championship feature there. So congratulations to them. Our second segment here on Sports Central is brought to us by the Statebridge Suites. So we appreciate them, great partners of tourism and sports marketing. Well, speaking of great partners, our next guest, Stetson Glass, co-owner of the Lakeland Renegades, and the Renegades are doing some great things in Polk County. And Stetson, welcome to Sports Central.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Absolutely. Well, rugby.
Rugby.
You got 12 minutes because Jack and I know very little about. No, we certainly understand a lot of the concepts, but it is significantly different than most anything else. Probably the closest thing would be football. Mm-hmm. But rugby, talk to us a little bit about rugby, maybe what the Renegades are trying to do and how people can get involved locally because maybe they don't know that this is offered here in Polk County.
Sure, yeah. So, like you said, a lot of people don't typically in the U.S. know a whole lot about rugby to begin with. It is growing at a significant rate in the United States, but it's played pretty much internationally everywhere. Football actually comes from rugby. But it's like a mixture between football and soccer, really, with the kind of continuous play. But it's it's a lot of fun. I had a friend who was playing. It looked like a lot of fun. I went out, and now here I am. So Lakeland has the pleasure of hosting 2 different types of rugby programs. One being the Lakeland Lancers. They're a rugby football club. It's kind of a union play. There's a little bit of a different gameplay style there. But I'm a co-owner of the Lakeland Renegades Rugby League, and the difference there is we're a semi-pro team, and we play the USARL South Conference. So we play teams like Miami, it's a South Florida team actually, and then Jacksonville, Tampa. We go up to Atlanta and play in Atlanta, and if we're lucky enough, we play a playoff game and stuff like that. So 2019 was our inaugural season. We had a great season, and then COVID struck and it kind of took a year off. So, but here we are. We're thankful for a lot of sponsors who are coming back to us, despite the break that we had there. And but yeah, we're excited for the season. We know that Lakeland's a host to a lot of amazing athletes, maybe football and soccer and wrestling and things like that. And rugby's really a mix of that, especially rugby league. Even the wrestling kind of concepts that go into that with the tackle technique. We have kind of a high tackle and low tackle. You have 2 tacklers at the same time. And a wrestler is really typically good at that high tackle because they hook under the arms and just pin them on the ground, which is what we need for that kind of style of gameplay. So we're going to have a combine on April 24th out at Dobbins Park off Ariana Street. At 4 p.m. we have our coach is Dave Olch, who is he's actually an international player for the league. He played with the USA Hawks whenever they beat Vancouver, or they beat the Canadian team there. Yeah, he's coaching for us. He's got a lot of experience under his belt. So we're excited about what the season brings and look forward to people coming out and joining us for that.
So Jack, I saw you making a note. Are you going to be out there on the 24th
I'm ready.
trying out?
I'm ready.
Is that what that note was?
Yeah. Okay. Well, until I found out he's actually the world's biggest scrum guy. right? There's one guy who's the scrum, the scrum expert, who's sort of in the middle. Everybody carries him. That's him.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
So typically, I'm actually the guy right beside him. So,
Okay, really? All right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But in league, we actually our scrums are uncontested. In league. So league's a little bit. The union is more. You have a lot of the scrums where they're pushing on each other. You know, they set up the rucks where they're contesting the ball and the gameplay there. League is more fast-paced.
Okay.
So the scrums are not really contested. We don't ruck, you get tackled, and the point of the reason it's great to get someone on their back when you tackle them is because when you're tackled, you want to stand up. And so if they're on the back, it's harder, it takes longer to stand up. So you want to stand up, and then you roll the ball behind you with your foot, and the game continues. So it's a lot quicker paced.
So it's not the sort of the turn and grab sort of. Okay.
This sport is not for the faint of heart. Is that a correct assessment?
That's a correct assessment. I mean, it definitely takes some passion. You get in there and you either love it or hate it, and if you're somewhere in between, you're going to end up hating it. So, but it can be so much fun. I would say that rugby has one of the greatest teamwork components I've ever seen in a sport. Rarely will you go to a rugby match and not hear the communication from the field. Just the consistent calling and knowing where everyone is and who's with whom and who's ready to take a ball and that sort of thing. You don't often get that a lot too much in different types of sports, but just constant talking. And so it's, you got to know where you are. It's not, in football you have a position, you set your play up, you know where you're going and how you're going to execute that play. But in rugby, it's in the moment. It's a critical thinking process that you just take right where you're at, look at what you're doing and make your decision. And that's the fun of it. So.
Well, and I think, and we've talked about this in the office, this is yet another offering that there is in Polk County. Yeah. Professional sports. You said it was a semi-professional team. You got the Tropics with the indoor and outdoor soccer team. You got the Lakeland Magic. You have the Flying Tigers. You've got rugby. Now, I mean, it goes on. There's an indoor arena team, football team, RP funding. You don't have to leave Polk County. Go to visitcentralflorida.org, full listing of events. So if you want to see professional sports, and Drew was on from Southeastern, where we've talked about before, you can still have your allegiance to Florida, Florida State, and Miami, but there's really good college football going on here. There's beautiful things that all cable providers provide now called recorders, so you can record that game and go see. Perfect example of more professional sports in Polk County. Yeah,
if you can't find something to follow and be interested in here in Polk, you've picked a real niche sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're bringing teams in from outside the county.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that earlier. Expand upon that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you want to see competition, rugby is the place for you. I mean, even as spectating. We play different teams that we host at Bryant Stadium. As we're playing this year, the big, old Dreadnought Stadium on Memorial. And being in that kind of environment is even nice with the jumbotron and things like that. And now I believe turf. But we bring other teams in, and the thing about rugby is it gets very aggressive, very fast on the field. But it's also cool that afterwards we go to something called a social where we all meet up together with our fans. Our fans are welcome to come out, and we all hang out together and we spend time together and talk about the game or rugby or whatever we want to talk about. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures on social media of you with kids, and
those are all 4 of my kids.
Those are all 4 of yours?
Those are all 4 of my kids,
okay. So and not only a co-owner but a player, obviously.
Yeah.
And as far as the combine, this is a way to expose people to the sport who otherwise wouldn't. So tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on out. Bring gear, bring pads.
Yeah,
no pads.
The only thing, rugby we don't use too many pads, but the only thing that you really need for rugby is a good set of cleats and a good attitude, and we're gonna help you get everything else. So that's the awesome thing as well for being a semi-pro team. We don't have player dues, so there's no cost to play. We have sponsorships, and we actually pay for travel and lodging when we play away games and play other teams elsewhere. So it's really just an awesome way to involve people in the community who want to be athletes, who want to be involved, and also like you said a little earlier, there's a difference in watching a game, for a great football team that you love, and there's a lot to that. But coming out to a local sports game on a Saturday with your family, being a part of an environment where there's real competition going on, you can't really replace that. So.
And this is a sport for all shapes and sizes, which is one, right? So you've got your faster guys who are in the back, you have your bigger guys in the front. So you don't have to be 6 foot some odd to play.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. We have some smaller guys who are quick. We have some bigger guys who just stand in the middle and hit people, and we love them both.
Okay.
Yeah. Love them all.
Oh, fantastic. Well, again, the Combine is at Dobbins Park Saturday, April 24th at 4 p.m. Is there a website? How can folks get more information?
Sure. So right now our website's under construction. It's coming soon at lakelandrl.com. However, LakelandRL on Instagram, Facebook is also a primary method of contact.
Okay.
So we'll reach out. Yeah.
Stetson, thank you so much. We really appreciate the time, and look forward to sending our crew out there to watch Jack try out for the Lakeland Renegades.
Can't wait.
All right.
And never to be heard from again.
Yeah. Now you see my excitement.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we're going to take a break. We're going to look at some footage from the Sun and Fun Fly, and we are absolutely thrilled that this event will be back in 2021, just a week or so away. We're going to talk about it a little bit later in the show, but let's take a look at this action. We'll be right back here on Sports Central.
I'm here at the 45th Annual Sun and Fun Fly-In and Expo, and as you can see, there are planes behind me. So let's go take a look around. All right, so I am here with Leo Brochet, and he is the vice chairman of the workshops here at Sun and Fun. Now, what type of workshops do you guys offer?
Well, we cover just about everything that you need for building your own airplane. We've got an engine shop, we've got fabric covering, we've got woodworking, we've got metal riveting and whatnot, we've got metal shaping for doing cowlings and that type of thing. We've got welding. Gas welding, we've got TIG welding, we've got electrical. We cover pretty much the whole gamut of what you need to know. And all of our well, not all of them, but most of our classes are FAA approved, to where mechanics, AIs, can come to our classes and actually get points for their continuing education requirements. So the classes that we teach are the real thing, you know. And most of the people that are instructing have mechanics license, A&P license.
So do you need a lot of experience then to take these workshop classes?
Not to take the workshops. The workshops are set up for complete newbie. You know, you don't need to know anything when you come in. Just have an interest in aviation and be interested in building.
Do you need to bring your own equipment, or is that provided?
We have everything here for you. All you have to do is walk in, bring yourself.
That's great. So what's your favorite class here?
Well, since I teach in the electric, I'd have to say electric. But I really like them all. I've filled in most all of them, and I like them all.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Leo. Looks like there's a lot to learn here at Sun and Fun. Hi. All right, so we are here with some of the students from the Lakeland Aero Club, and I am with, what is your name?
Andrew.
Andrew, hi. And what have you guys been working on? What is this?
So we are rebuilding the engine from this Cub, and we have people from Alabama that are professional mechanics that work with these engines, and they're here to show us how we build them. And so far we put the rods on, and we put the bolts on, we put the washer thing on there, and they're teaching us how to put it together.
That's awesome. So do you guys, what schools are you guys from?
We're all from CFA, Central Florida Aerospace Academy.
Do you have to go to school there to be able to participate in this club?
No, ma'am. You don't have to go. We have people from Jacksonville. We have people who volunteer to come to the club.
So do you all have an interest, like are you wanting to pursue aviation and building airplanes for your future career?
Being a mechanic. I just passed my climb aviation course, so.
I'm so sorry, what is your name?
Noah.
Noah, that is awesome. How old are you guys? Are you all, they're all around 16 and they're already putting together this thing, which I wouldn't even know how to start. Thank you guys so much. I'm here with Susie Okush, and she is the vice chair here for the International Welcome Center. So how long have you been doing this, Susie?
Since 2008.
What is your favorite thing about working here for the International Visitor Center?
Meeting people from all over the world. I meet people from Russia, China, Japan, Philippines were here, South Korea, all over. We have all kinds of cadets that are English. We have people from Australia, New Zealand. I love meeting all these people. They have great stories.
So tell me a little story about some people you've met or how you've helped them learn about Sun and Fun and everything.
I just met a pair of twins today. They're both from the Netherlands. One lives in Scotland. She told me her sister was coming. Her sister came. I didn't know it was a different person. Wow. She's going to volunteer with us next year. And if you do want to volunteer, you don't have to speak a language. We'll accommodate because we have all kinds of international visitors who speak English.
That's awesome. And so can anybody just come by and say hi to you?
Yes, definitely they can come by and say hi. I would love to say hi. I'll be here all week.
Be sure to stop by one of the many souvenir outlets to pick up all of your Sun and Fun souvenirs, hats, t-shirts, and toys. All right, the planes are going up and the show's about to start, so we'll pass this on to you guys back in the studio.
Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Neal and Jack here, and that's exciting to see that Sun and Fun footage.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, this is the time of year, right? So Sun and Fun, IRONMAN, baseball.
Tigers were just here. Yeah.
You know, this is it.
Yeah, we're excited.
It's a sweet spot.
This third segment brought to us by the Hilton Garden Inn in Lakeland, great partners of tourism and sports marketing. So, in our last segment, we were talking about rugby, and you said you had played a little bit, and we were talking off air about, you know, it's a physically demanding sport, and you said you were more apt to go try that than you are what we're going to talk about in our next guest.
Sure.
Well, Karen Tyner is here. She's a local triathlete and is impressive, and we'll get to all of that, but let's go ahead and say thank you again for your assistance a few years ago. If you remember, Panama City Beach was really leveled by a hurricane. And the IRONMAN group contacted, of course, the City of Haines City, Polk County Sports Marketing, the partnership, and said, hey, we have an idea. And anytime someone calls you and says, hey, we have an idea, uh-oh. But the entire full Ironman was moved to Polk County in less than 3 weeks. It was about 2.5 weeks. And Karen, you were a part of that and the efforts to pull that off. So once again, thank you for that. But you've competed in a number of half Ironmans, which are 70.3, but you've also done some full Ironmans, correct?
I've actually done 2 full ones. Those were in Chattanooga. I didn't get to do the one in Haines City because I just finished Chattanooga, and also I was helping them
Brian
get
Ritchie
it
put you to
together
work,
too.
yeah.
But the Parks and Rec and Haines City and sports marketing, you guys, everybody, it was a miracle. I mean, truly, when they told us they were going to try to move it, and we had to do that in 2 weeks span of time. Volunteers, we need like 2,000 volunteers for that kind of event, and it was pulled off. The community itself came together. The different tri-clubs of the Central Florida area came together. It was just able to do that for the athletes because, yes, it was a horrible reason that we had to pull it off because the people in Panama City Beach, the last thing they needed to worry about was having a bunch of athletes come to their community. They had no electricity. But these athletes had to train for like a year. So, you know, it's not as catastrophic for them, but yet you think about the time they sacrificed. So they were thrilled that Haines City was able to do this for them. And they were thrilled to be able to come, another 7-hour drive to another location. But Haines City pulled it off, sports marketing, you guys, everybody did a fantastic job.
And I think it's a great point when you mention the community aspect of it, because that's a lot of volunteers when you have a full year to work on getting volunteers. It's just a testament to Polk County and the community that this is and why people want to come live here, because everybody's like, hey, yeah, absolutely. If we can do this to help, in a way, Panama City Beach, take this off their plate so they could focus on recovery, you're absolutely right. And as bad as it got in that 2.5 weeks of trying to ensure that everything that was covered, you were also able to sit back and go, okay, wait, there's greater problems at play here, you know, what these folks are dealing with. But when you talk, of course, IRONMAN will be back in Polk County April 18th. Up there in Haines City, but talk about, of course, you're local here, you're from the Haines City area and you've competed. Talk about the training aspect and then the competition aspect. You alluded to it a minute ago about the amount of time that goes into training for such an event. Not only is it important to Polk County to host an event like this and the economic impact, but it's also important just to have the event, and with the COVID and everything that we have going on, talk about the training that goes into it.
Well, that's tricky because they have the different distances. So obviously the one in Haines City is what they consider the half triathlon, which half full, which is 70.3. So you have 3 disciplines. You have to practice with the swim, you have to practice with the run, you have to practice with the biking. And there's actually a 4th one, which is nutrition, which you have no idea how important that part is when you get to those distances. For the shorter distance, not so much, but the longer ones, yeah, because if you eat the wrong food, you're not going to have a good run because you might be spending more time in the portalette. But as far as the half, it depends on everybody's age, their experience and whatnot. It could be 20 weeks training, it could be 15 weeks, 16 weeks. But generally, the average person takes about 20 weeks to train for the half. And the challenge for a lot of people is the swim part of it, because a lot of people don't have places to go to swim 1.2 miles to practice. Especially this past year with COVID, a lot of the pools were shut down. All of them, talking more so in the country, you got to figure up north, they can't get in the lakes up north. And so the pools that were indoor pools, a lot of them are coming to this race without a lot of swimming practice. So that is a challenge for them. This particular race we're having was deferred from last year. So the athletes that practiced for last year were told a month beforehand, this is canceled. So then they deferred it to December. And so they continued training on to keep their fitness level to a certain level, and then ramped it up again probably in November to be ready for December. And then that was canceled 3 weeks again before the race, because that's when we had that big surge in the numbers and it wasn't safe. So naturally you can feel the letdown for those athletes, and then have to vamp it back up probably somewhere between January is when most people vamped it back up. So a lot of people have been training for well over a year for this particular event.
And part of the event this year, one of the differences from this year from previous ones is COVID protocols. So they're trying to have less folks come out and observe, for example.
Yeah, for the safety, the spectators that normally would be there they have a chute in Haines City, and I'm, you know, like a running chute for spectators to sit there and help people get through it, which is a lot of help, by the way, for the athletes. So it'll be a challenge for the athletes in that respect, not having the people cheering them on. But in the venue area itself, it's just not safe having that many people close together. throughout the route, especially like in the bike route, there can be isolated people, standing on the side of the road or even on the run in that respect. But they're still trying to make it very safe for the athletes and for the spectators too, to not be at the venue itself. And then the protocols for the athletes is very different this year than in normal years, as far as we do not have body markings. We won't have body markings because that takes another individual putting it on you. We will not have people helping us take off our wetsuits, which for me is a huge challenge. You lose 5 minutes just on pulling off my wetsuit. So I'm practicing that more than anything else right now.
Well, because you're exhausted when you get out of the water, and so any assistance
yeah, they're tight. And the body strippers, they can rip them off in 2 seconds. For me, like I said, I'm not kidding. It will put 2 minutes on my time, seriously. But it will everybody else too. So it's an even Steven on us for that front. But the other thing is we'll have masks on before we start the race. And then there's supposed to be about 1,700 athletes for this particular one. So we will be lined up in a very spread out fashion, which will be interesting because the beach is only so long. So that's going to be interesting in itself.
And they'd sort of, a few years back, they went to this sort of a staggered start on the swimming to begin with. That sort of scrum, back to the rugby term, that scrum of swimmers kind of went by the wayside. So they're even going to spread that out
every year.
Yeah.
Some years they do age group startings. One year they tried you self-seating yourself. They really have switched it up different years. This year it's what we call the self-seating. You put yourself in line where you think your speed is, and it's hopefully an honorary system as far as that's concerned. And you don't want to be in the front if you're a slow swimmer, because the unique thing about the Haines City venue is most have a loop swim or one end to the other end swim. This is a M, and so there's more turns on this than any other race in Ironman circuit. So the turns make it very challenging, and if you have a lot of swimmers at one time trying to turn these corners, if you're not a strong swimmer, you want to be in the back. You'd want to put yourself in the back.
So I'm going to ask you the question I have always wanted to ask a triathlete. Do you pick the venue according to the topography? So if you don't want to bike up hills, you don't pick Chattanooga, I assume.
Chattanooga is a challenge. Chattanooga is fun. Chattanooga swim is awesome because you go down the Tennessee River. So, but yes, the venue is definitely by your aptitude. You want to pick that. I'm smiling because that's my funnest part of the race. Is everybody thinks they're coming to Florida for a flat race.
Yep.
Everybody thinks they're coming to Florida for a flat race. And so when they do the first half of this one in Haines City, which Haines City is relatively flat when you're going through, but when you get to Lake Wells in front of Bach Tower and get on Scenic Highway, I hear a lot of interesting words when they see the steepness of these hills. And after the race, that's the first thing we hear from all the athletes that come from all over is I thought Haines City was supposed to be flat.
Yeah, when we were working the full, that was the comment I got handing out bags on the bike route was, where'd the hills come from?
Yeah, and the same with the run, because the run is on a quite steep hill that you have to hit twice on this particular one. And then the other fun part for me is the, because I'm a native of the area, so lakes, you're used to alligators and those types of things, and that's always the questions from all the people from all over the world, is are there really alligators in these lakes? And well, they are, but they don't bother you. You just don't be first, you don't be last.
That's right. Well, Karen, thank you so much. And you said you are competing in this one, correct?
I am I've been in training for this one for a year and 3 months.
Well, good luck, and maybe we can have you back after and talk about the new race with COVID precautions and all that. But we wish you nothing but the best, and we appreciate you taking the time to come into Sports Central.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
All right. Well, it's never we never have a shortage of honoring folks at the Polk County All Sports Awards, which will take place on June 8th at the RP Funding Center with limited capacity and those things for safety. But one of the groups that will be there will be the Lakeland Christian soccer team. The girls soccer team broke through and won the state championship. Well, Ramsey Watkins is one of the stars from that, and she is featured now on our Athlete Spotlight. Neal and Jack will be right back here on Sports Central.
I am small, but I am mighty. Like, I will push you off the wall if I need to, but I've never been like the tallest person on the team. I've never been the biggest person. I've never like had this like broad stance or anything. Like, people like look at me and they're like, oh, she's small. She's like not really, she can't really do anything. And I'm like, growing up, I grew up against older girls and like playing, especially coming into, from elementary school into middle school and then playing on the high school team, I'd be playing against seniors. So I'd have to match that level. And so I'd have to be starting to like push senior girls off the ball that's 18 years old as what, like 14, like not even. And so that's where most of that came from. And then ever since then, it just kind of like helped building me up. I've been playing ever since I was like 5 years old, ever since I could remember, honestly. And my parents always put me into like gymnastics and stuff like that. With my sisters, they were always into that stuff. And then my parents just decided to put me into soccer because I wasn't doing so well. And then they were like, yeah, she's pretty good at this, so we're gonna keep her in it. Whenever I was younger, I definitely looked up to like the older girls at my high school. And then I also was like watching soccer on TV and like watching the USA team, and like they all like just inspired me and was just like, wow, like that's what I want to be whenever I grow up. Like that's how good I want to be. And then now I looked up to Bree Folds whenever I was coming in as a freshman, not a freshman, like 6th and 7th grader when I first started on varsity. And I was just like, wow, like she's so good. Like that's who I want to be. And that's like that's what I strive to be. And now she's like going into the pro team, and where is she at? Sweden? I think she's playing in Sweden right now. And I'm just like, wow, like that's crazy. Like I watched her play whenever she was a freshman, and now she's pro in Sweden, playing in Sweden. I'm just like, wow, that's cool. I feel like I'm in a great place right now, especially coming into college. I feel like I'm very prepared for it, and I feel like the people that mainly helped me with that was obviously my high school coaches and my club coaches in the past, like Mike Pickett, Jim Cody, and then my club coaches from my like younger ages from LFC, now the Tropics, and Plant City, Brian Amell, Trevor, and they all pretty much all showed me like different styles of play and like different like ways that I can do things, and like different techniques and different, like literally everything in the book. Like just, I always got a different coaching style from each of them, and I feel like that's definitely gotten me to where I am, and I understand the game like a lot more now than I used to, like whenever I just had like one coach, but now I have like 5, so it helps a lot. It was honestly like, coming down to the end of the game with like 2 minutes left, I was like, this is our game to win. Like I had chills coming and down to the end of the game. Like I was just like, wow, like my senior year, like we finally won this after being on the team since 6th grade and losing it every single year, not getting to the point where we wanted to. And then now in my senior year, I'm going out with a gold medal around my neck, and I'm literally so happy. Like I still get chills about it. Like I honestly am getting chills right now on my legs.
Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Neal alongside Jack, and been just a jam-packed show, and we want to get right to our next segment and talk about the Sun and Fun Flying. But before we do, we want to thank our segment sponsor, Cabana Club. They're just right next to the Lake Myrtle Sports Park in Auburndale, and if you haven't been out there, it is unbelievable. But we talked about it, it's back, the Sun and Fun Flying, and we're going to welcome Greg Gibson to the show. And we appreciate your time because we know right now it is crazy in preparation for the flying.
It's insane. We're having we're having a banner year in any year. You know, a lot of people are ready to get out, and it's obvious from our ticket sales. So we're pretty excited right now, and of course we got all of our safety measures in place, but it's going to be a great week.
Well, and the campus allows for that anyway. It's yes, there's hangars with a lot of the, you know, with the vending and stuff like that, but the majority of the crowd is outside taking in the air shows and things like that, right?
You bet. It's over 1,000 acres, so there's no better place to spread out. I mean, if you're going to be socially distant, the airport property is built for it. You know, you can get out there and see, you know, thousands of aircraft, and, you know, it's literally, you know, 2 linear miles from pretty much one end to the other of the campus if you decided to walk the whole thing. So there's a lot of room out there for people to spread out, and a lot of things in that whole space for people to see.
And as we sit here live on April 9th, the event itself is April 13th through the 18th. Before we get too rushed for time, the website, where they can buy tickets and get information, I'm assuming, on the website about what Son of Fun is doing to keep the event safe.
Absolutely. So flysnf.org, flysnf.org is where you can find all of that. We've got our COVID procedures, the link to it's right on the home page, and of course the ticketing button's right on the home page. Everybody can see where the different levels of ticketing is available, and all the various things that are happening during the day. It's a big site. There's a lot to see. You know, give yourself some time to kind of peruse it because there's a lot going on in there. But if the contact page is a great spot. We've got some great volunteers that are answering questions, you know, just hand over fist right now. So if you get confused or something doesn't look quite right or have a question, just either give us a call or shoot us an email.
And everything from air show to car show to, I mean, breakdown, this isn't just a little event. This is, I hate to fall back on the something for everybody, but literally something for everybody.
It really is. You know, having that range of things is what we've developed over the last 47 years. And this is our 47th annual event. We did have a 46. It was virtual, so it's still online at sonfunhome.org if they want to see what that looked like. But the car show is a weekend event. We have, of course, the United States Navy Blue Angels are coming in with their very first demonstration anywhere in their new platform, the FA-18 Super Hornet. They'll have the return of Fat Albert, which is their C-130J Hercules. It's a Super Hercules. It's the first time that's been seen anywhere. And I actually have on Thursday, there could be a guest appearance from a jet team some people might have heard of that happens to be on their way to the East Coast. So can't confirm or deny that may or may not happen, but Thursday you should be looking up around, right around 4 o'clock.
What's it rhyme with?
Let's see. It's something you'd buy. No, I'm gonna.
But always something for into Jack's point. Something
cameo
for everybody. Yeah, which is fantastic. And I think you mentioned something that's very important because things are so spread out and there is so much to see. Get on that website. Get a game plan because you can. And if you are a little bit, I don't want to say nervous, but you want to try to know where you're going, and then you don't have to encounter, you know what I mean?
That's true, and you know, it's like a theme park. You know,
exactly.
Take pictures of what your kids are wearing, you know, take a picture of them when they get there, so for somehow they get separated from you, show what people look like, show them what they look like today. You know, that's a good idea, because I didn't see people show your kid, that was 5 years ago. Oh no. You know, so having that type of foresight and planning, you know, that level of detail is really helpful. And of course, sunscreen. Make sure you got something to protect the skin. It's going to be warm. It is Florida. We're really excited about, of course, our home in Central Florida. You know, visit Central Florida, Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing, great partners. I look forward to seeing you guys out there and having all your exhibits and displays. People can learn about what's all going on in Central Florida. And of course, most of that requires sunscreen too, because it's going to be a great week. We really have the weather forecast looks good. We've got thousands of aircraft teed up that are coming in, and of course, just the general camaraderie. The food's fantastic. A lot of people don't realize that. If you're a foodie, this is a great place to come. It's not just carnival food. This is stuff where you can actually, the Amish donuts, I'm just going to say it, Amish donuts.
That was Laura's favorite.
Do it.
Yep, that was her favorite.
Yeah,
so.
they're fantastic.
They're so good.
Yes.
It really is. I mean, the line over there, they actually said, oh, you know, we're having a tough time this year, and the vendors all around them said, no, you have to be there. Can we contribute? You know, so they're fantastic.
I had read online an article about, well, you know, folks whether they're deciding whether to come out or not because of the amount of replies to the article that were, hey, look, I'm up in Minnesota, I'm up in wherever, I'm coming out, I've been vaccinated, this is the time to come out, it's out in the open. So ticket sales have been through the roof so far.
They really have, and we didn't see that coming, honestly. We had an event in December, our Holiday Flying Festival and Car Show, and it was fun to do. It was a nice little stopgap fundraiser for us, but it also gave us sort of a beta test for what this would look like. Gave us a lot of go-ahead indicators, and a lot of it was that, you know, people were ready to be outside, you know, felt like an outdoor venue was something they could feel safe at, and of course having all of our state, local, and federal guidelines being observed and documented is something that you'll see us doing. I've got my little clever little, you know, mask on here that we've got ready to go.
Yep.
So
there you go.
It's a different year for all of us. I mean, how many times can you beat that dead horse?
Yeah.
But it's going to be a lot of what you're used to with Sun and Fun. We have so many people who've never been. That's one of the big things you're talking about. You know, communications and outstanding. They're saying they haven't been before. This is my first time. What can I expect, and how do we do this? And it's very exciting for us. I think we've reached a whole new audience in a lot of different ways, because we were looking at alternative audiences, you know, with the food conversation, with the camping conversation, with the car show conversation, to, you know, because we weren't real sure what that volume of people would look like. So rather than just talking to the choir, we marketed to a lot broader segment, and I believe we really hit on something. So not everything with a COVID situation is bad. It forces you into some new ideas, and I think we're coming out on top for it because of them.
Well, you're exactly right, and this is another example of some of the positives. You know, try to look for the silver lining. Some of the positives that have come from COVID and the response to, you know, golf is seeing a surge in new players or folks returning to it. RVs and camping.
Absolutely.
You know, water skiing. Good luck trying to buy a boat right now.
Right.
Or getting on the water, which are, oh, by the way, completely every one of them in Polk County's wheelhouse as far as what we're able to offer. This is another example of that. A huge campus, like you said, there at the airport, the ability to be outside. So it's exciting to see. And of course, we know, because we've been there a million times, once somebody goes to Sun and Fun the first time, they come back and they come back and they come back, because it is so great.
Well, you know what a lot of people will tell us, and this is what's so great about Polk County, is that they come to Sun and Fun, but then because they discover so many things that are what, you know, they're not the, you know, the beaten path sort of activities, but because neither are we, if you think about it from a large scale, you know, perspective, then they see all these ancillary things that they could come back, and we find out that we see people that come onto the campus saying, yeah, I was here in April and we're back. You know, so they're back to either camp at the campground again, so we're year round now, and they're enjoying the different, you know, venues and whatnot and all the attractions here in Polk County. So it's exciting to be part of that, and it's really fun to be able to kind of feed that engine.
One more time, give us the website so folks can get all the information they need.
It's flysnf.org, and all the info you need is right there.
And again, the dates are April 13th through the 18th. They're in Lakeland at the Sun and Fun campus, and of course, the money and the proceeds and the amount of scholarships and the high school right there. So a lot of reasons to be a part of this. Greg, thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
And we're actually going to be live next Friday from Sun and Fun, so we're excited about that as well. We won't be. They won't let us do that.
No.
That'll be a Mark Jackson thing, but thanks again, Greg. Really appreciate it.
That'll be great.
Okay.
Yep. Well, we've got some sponsors we want to thank that made this program possible. Harry's Seafood Bar and Grill, Lake Myrtle Dental, the Ledger Media Group, Elite Cable Park there at Lake Myrtle, and Harborside. Just some of the great partners that make this show possible. And what a jam-packed show, but outstanding show today, Jack.
Yeah, an awful lot. Just, you know, it shows once again all the amount of activity and things to do here in Polk County. Absolutely no reason to go left or right.
Yep. We also have a radio version of Sports Central, and that's on Talk 1430 and Talk 96.7 every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. So you'll definitely want to tune in to that to get more coverage of what's going on in the sports world in Polk County. You can also go to centralfloridasports.com or give us a call, 863-551-4750. As I mentioned, next Friday, we're going to go back to back. We're going to be out there at Sun and Fun.
Live at Sun and Fun.
I'm
sure Mark will have a couple of those Amish donuts.
Yeah.
And,
well, we're going to talk about outdoor stuff with Chris Keprios. I believe Miss Florida is going to be joining, and a few others. So we're very excited about that. Again, Sports Central live next Friday from Sun and Fun. For Jack Cormier, this is Neal Duncan. We appreciate you tuning in, and we appreciate all the great activities going on here in Polk County. For now, we're going to bid you adieu. Have a great day, everybody.